exactly does phishing work? Well, most people associate phishing with email messages that spoof or mimic bank, credit card companies, or other businesses like Amazon, eBay, and Facebook. These messages look authentic and attempt to get victims to reveal their personal information. But email messages are only one small piece of a phishing scam. From beginning to end, the process involves 5 steps. The first step is planning. The fisher must decide which business to target and determine how to get email addresses for the customers of that business. Then they must go through the setup phase. Once they know which business to spoof and who their victims are, fishers create methods for delivering the messages and collecting the data. Then they have to execute the attack, and this is the step most people are familiar with. That is, the fisher sends a phony message that appears to be from a reputable source. After that, the fisher records the information the victims enter into the web page or pop-up windows. And in the last step, which is basically identity theft and fraud, the fishers use the information they've gathered to make illegal purchases or otherwise commit fraud. And as many as a fourth of the victims never fully recover. So how exactly can you be actually preventing yourself from getting phished? Well, the only thing that you can do is being aware of how phishing emails actually work. So first of all, a phishing email has some very specific properties. So firstly, you will have something like a very generalized way of addressing someone, like dear client. Then your message will not be actually from a very reputable source. So out here, as you can see, it's written as Amazon on the label, but if you actually inspect the email address that it came from, it's from management at masoncanada.ca, which is not exactly a legitimate Amazon address. Third, you can actually hover over the redirect links and see where they actually redirect you to. Now, this redirects me to www.fakeamazon.com, as you can see out here. So basically, you know this is actually a phishing email, and you should actually report this email to your administrators or anybody else that you think is supposed to be concerned with this. Also, let me give you guys a quick demonstration on how phishing actually works from the perspective of an attacker. So first of all, I have actually created a phishing website for harvesting Facebook credentials. I simply just took the source code of the Facebook login page and pasted it, and then made a backend code in PHP which makes a log file of all the Facebook passwords that get actually entered onto the phishing page. Now, I've also sent myself an email as to make sure this looks legitimate, but this is only for spreading awareness, so please don't use this method for actually harvesting credentials. That's actually a very illegal thing to do. So let's get started. First of all, you'll go to your email and see that you'll get some email saying your Facebook credentials have been compromised. So when you open it, it looks pretty legit. Well, I haven't made it look all that legit. It should look legit, but the point out here is to actually make you aware of how this works. So as you guys can see, it says, "Dear client, we have strong reasons to believe that your credentials may have been compromised and might have been used by someone else. We have locked your Facebook account. Please click here to unlock. Sincerely, Facebook Associate Team." So if we actually click here, we are actually redirected to a nice looking Facebook page, which is exactly how Facebook looks like when you're logging in. Now, suppose I were to actually log into my Facebook account, which I won't, I'll just use some random ID like this is an email @gmail.com, and let's put password as admin123, and we click login. Now, since my Facebook is actually already logged in, it'll just redirect to facebook.com and you might just see me logged in. But on a normal computer, it'll just redirect you to www.facebook.com, which should just show this site again. Okay, so once I click login out here, all that the backend code that I've written in PHP out here will do is that it's gonna take all the parameters that I've entered into this website, that is my email address and the password, and just generate a log file about it. So let's just hit login and see what happens. So as you guys can see, I've been redirected to the original Facebook page that is not meant for phishing. And on my system out here, I have a log file. And this log file will show exactly, as you can see, I've fished out the email address. This is an email @gmail.com. And it's also showed the password, that is admin123. So this is how exactly phishing works. You enter an email address and you're entering the email address on a phishing website, and then it just redirects you to the original site. But by this time, you've already compromised your credentials. So always be careful when dealing with such emails.